star has two things an actor doesn't have: charisma and the ability to sell tickets. Eddie Murphy will sell tickets around the world in a movie that is not a very good movie. That's a movie star. Robert De Niro's a great actor. He doesn't necessarily sell tickets.
If you want some security about making a $30 million investment, it would be very nice to have Danny DeVito on the other end of that camera, or Michael Douglas, or Robert Redford. It doesn't mean necessarily that people will come to the film.
It is undefinable what makes any star a star. And it's just something that goes on between an actor and his audience through a camera and onto a film, and I don't know what it is.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of
Casting stars is critical. Let's say you're making a $25 million action movie with no stars in it, and you say, gee, that's a lot of money. Maybe if we paid a whole bunch of money to a star and it was a $35 million movie, it would actually be safer and have a better chance of acceptance than if we just made a $25 million movie with no stars. We're in it to make money, so if we pay a certain amount to a star, it's because we think we can make it back, plus the cost of the movie, plus a profit.
Great.
What is interesting and important for me is that I'm doing good work and that I sell it. Because you got to be responsible for this project. If someone gives you $50 million to do a movie, you know, like this movie cost $50 million approximately, maybe a little less or so, but around 50. Then you have the responsibility to go out there and sell it.
Cut.
Get ready for a surprise!
When you look at some of these so-called big stars today, I mean, that make millions of dollars, they really make light of what it is that I do. You know, because one guy lifted weights, another guy can't talk. You know, he's a big movie star. I like them personally. They're all nice guys, but the truth of the matter is, what is that all about? What the hell is that all about?
I know actors that rehearse their lines of what they say back to the press.
Really?
Before they get an answer, they go out and rehearse those things. I mean, this is how crazy it gets.
You know, I'm not knocking any one of them. The truth of the matter is, I think, you know, they would be the first to say that they're not, you know, great actors. They're becoming great actors while they're making $12 million a picture.
Howdy, stranger. You. I mean, you're me.
It's a silly business after all, isn't it? Silly.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is a movie star throughout the world, in both the United States, England, continental Europe, the Middle East, Asia. There is no place right now that he is not a star.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is a pretty bad actor. His emotional range goes from about A almost all the way to B. But what he is he's a great movie star. His great breakthrough came in a sword and sorcery costume drama called Conan the Barbarian. It's actually a pretty lousy movie, really rather silly, but it allowed Schwarzenegger to use his enormous physical presence without having to talk much. His real triumphant breakthrough, however, was a film called The Terminator. In it, he plays a futuristic assassin from another planet who comes to hunt down somebody on Earth. And basically what he does is he crushes everything in his path. He even runs over children's toys.
Schwarzenegger found out a long time ago that he is a specific image. And the only way he's going to capitalize on that image is to have fun with it and allow the audience to have some fun with it.
Julius.
What?
Are you allergic to something?
No.
Don't look at these bumps all over your body. And you're all swelled up. You look like you're ready to explode.
And in being bright enough to do that and to be able to a degree, laugh at himself, he became a star because the public became a partner with him in what he was doing.
Hit him, hit him, hit him, hit him.
Oh, hit him, hit him, hit him. Ah.
In this business, you know, it's pretty fickle, and that there is a time that you're going to be knocked down.
Come on, you've written about this, now do it. Well, you know what actually works. What a surprise.
James Caan became a star because he was in Francis Coppola's film The Godfather, which was the most successful movie of the early 70s. Many people thought he was the best single person in The Godfather and was the one who surely, because he wasn't an Italian and therefore wasn't trapped in ethnic roles, would actually go on to be the biggest star. What's curious is that after being in this great epic, he then went on to make movie after movie after movie after movie, which were failures.
As a matter of fact, I was thinking of opening a business because I have a great success rate in that if I say, this is terrible and I won't do it, go to the bank, it'll make a fortune. And anything I like goes the other way. So I was thinking like it would be a great business to have, you know, to have the heads of studios say, hey, Jimmy, do you like this? And if I said no, then boy, they should sink everything they got into it, you know. As far as Cuckoo's Nest was concerned, I thought, it was a wonderfully written thing, but it wasn't visual. And Milos, I didn't know, was going to do such a great, great job as he did. I thought, like, boy, that's pretty boring you know, to see 4 white walls, you know, for 2 hours. So that was my reasoning there. They were after me to do Kramer vs. Kramer for a long time, and I said, this middle-class bourgeois horse shit is what I told them I thought it was. And there again, a major successful picture. But, you know, I guess most actors are not known for their taste. I woke up one morning and found out I was broke. And that's another great thing. I mean, I think the biggest luxury of success is to be able to, there's a difference between wanting to work and having to work, you know?
There is an endless amount of movie makers in this town that feel that I'm too handsome. And so they basically try everything in the book to tone down my look and to make me look more average, because otherwise it's too much for the screen. I personally understand it because I even myself can handle it. If when I look in the mirror, I said, wait a minute, this is too much for me. But Hollywood is really good at those things, I have to remind you, because they can really tone one down, as you can see right now, considerably. And I'm very happy about it because it makes me able to get jobs, although I'm too good looking, basically.
In the beginning, no one received Arnold. We took him to restaurants when we were all in New York together, and people laughed at him behind his back. We would sit facing him at a table, and we could see people tittering in the background. Journalists and writers and friends of ours didn't want to have anything to do with Arnold.
The greatest feeling you can get in a gym, or the most satisfying feeling you can get in a gym, is the pump.
I made a test film in 1973, and after I screened it here in New York to an audience of potential investors for the first version of Pumping Iron, a pretty good writer got up and said, George, if you make a movie about Arnold Schwarzenegger, you are going to be laughed off 42nd Street.
It's as satisfying to me as coming is, you know, as having sex with a woman and coming. And so can you believe how much I am in heaven? I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym, I'm getting the feeling of coming at home, I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up, when I pose out in front of 5,000 people, I get the same feeling. So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right? So, you know, I'm in heaven.
We set up at the Whitney Museum, and they envisioned a small panel discussion about the body as art. And at 8 o'clock that night, they had 3,500 people in the museum. We kept repeating processes like that. We invited Andy Warhol to screenings. We put him in ballet studios. I got Jamie Wyeth to paint Arnold. And all of a sudden, things began to change. Arnold was beginning to assume a new persona. He was very quick to pick up on this, and he was beginning to charm every writer in New York. And they all wanted to meet him at a certain point. It was this kind of thing that really allowed Arnold to jump ahead. I think that the effect that we had was to jump him right to the top very quickly indeed. He learned how to do it, and he did it beautifully.
There were, you know, 100 photographers out there because I was posing with some girls. Now, that you could have any kind of actor, the best actor in the world, go out there on the beach posing, nobody will come. You know, that's the thing. I mean, it's something that carries me through until I'm established in acting.
And you're confident that you have a talent as an actor equal to your talent as a body?
I'm as confident, yeah. When I was 15 years old, I said I would be the best or the greatest bodybuilder of all times, and I have done it. And now I'm as confident than when I was 15. I can say now I will be the best actor around.
He wanted to be number one, you know, which has been his goal, you know, for a long time. As a bodybuilder, as a marketing person, anything that he endeavors to do and ventures into, it is very clear. I want to be the best. I want to know the most about it. And I just want to be number one.
C'est très mauvais ça pour les muscles. Ça c'est très mauvais.
Il devrait avoir Alain Bernard, non?
Oui, il est derrière. It's very bad for me. Alain, too much for me.
Not too much for me. Can you do this? I made up a program, went to a lot of acting classes, voice classes, accent removal classes and on and on and on, and really laid out a plan on how to market myself. And then I met the most incredible resistance that you can imagine. Everyone was basically saying to me, you have very little chance in this profession, simply because there is no one that you know that has come from Europe, that has really gone through the roof, that has made it really huge in this business. And this is how I went from agency to agency. And the next guy would say to me, I tell you, your name won't sell. It's just no one can, I cannot pronounce it, he said, and no one else can in this office, right, girls? And they all laugh, yeah, Schwarzenschnitzel, or what's the name here, you know? And so he says, forget it. You know, you have to change your name or do something with it. And so I said to myself, well, yeah, not a beating. I feel that I'm Austrian-American. I was born, of course, in Austria, lived there for 21 years, and now I've lived over here for 21 years. So it's really half and half all the way through. But, you know, I'm extremely happy that I came to the United States and became a citizen of this country because this is really the, you know, the country that represents a beautiful vision, you know, a vision of great opportunities and endless possibilities, where a dream can come true, which in my case, I'm a perfect example of that.
Welcome to the White House, and a pleasure to be with all of you, especially the man who symbolizes physical fitness, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I want to just say thank you very much to the President and Mrs. Bush for their consistent assistance and for their help in making this possible. Let's quickly do some stretching. Come on, lean over. All right. Okay, General Powell, much further. Come on now. Okay.
Arnold, by being the head of the President's Council on Physical Fitness, is acquiring a kind of legitimacy, instant legitimacy, that Hollywood cannot give him. It is making him into a serious person, a person who cares. It makes him into a person who is doing well by doing good, which is sort of the ultimate, the final extension of the American dream.
Shake it out. We are ready, I think, for the President. Come on, let's shake it out.
I mean, my take on Arnold is that he really was America's first yuppie. That his rage to succeed, his need to pull himself out of what he had been born into, and to develop relationships with what he always calls the top people, that was so motivating. And if you're a Republican who is trying to combat the wimp factor, what is better than to round up every he-man who's got right of center politics and have him out on the stump for you? That's what Bush did.
I only play the Terminator. Michael Dukakis will be the real Terminator.
He is also getting, which I think is hardly insignificant, half a Kennedy. Arnold is married to John Kennedy's niece. When Arnold comes to a White House dinner, she comes too. So what it is, in a sense, is the co-option and approval of one little wing of the enemy camp, the real enemy camp. They get to trade off each other's glamour. It's fun for George to know Arnold, and it's fun for Arnold to know George. And everybody just has a great time.
He calls me Conan the Republican. There's many ways of looking at who is the top. You can be the guy that wins that year the Oscar. You can win a trophy from the theater owners. You can be one, you know, where you say, okay, I'm an international star because the biggest one because I get the most money. So there's many different ways of looking at who is big. I myself, my goal has been to make sure that that my films are seen by the most people, and that I do the best performance possible. So it is like, because when the most people see a movie, that means that it makes the most money. I have really only had a plan when it comes to creating me and publicizing myself. Because whatever product that you have, if it is a film or a car or clothing or whatever it is, if not everyone knows about it, your chances are slim. The first idea is to let everyone know about it and then hope for the best that everyone likes the product. But if people don't know about it, you can have the best product in the world and it's not going to go.
I'll be back.
Well, Sharon, that's it. No, Bobby's in front of you. And then at the end, back out. Yeah, so Bobby can come back here. Thank you.
I'll start on a 2 here and go.
Okay, great.
Go ahead.
That's great. Hi, I'm Kathy Diamond.
Hi, how are you doing, Kathy?
I'm fine. From San Diego.
If you do, let's say, those press junkets, and you give an interviewer only 3 minutes or 4 minutes to ask you questions, that this guy is only there for one thing, and this is to sell you tickets.
Okay, thank you.
And then you do 100 interviews a day like that, 3 minutes each, and so you say to the guy right away when he sits down, or the woman, and said, okay, we talk about the movie.
When we see you on interviews, you come off as honest. There are some people who don't, and we believe that you believe what you're selling and you believe in what you're doing.
Total Recall is a typical summer movie that you bring out there, like we open on June 1st. You go out there on June 1st when all the school kids are out and let them all attack the movie houses. That's the idea behind this movie, because it's a real hip movie.
Do you worry, though, when you have a new film coming out?
That's why I'm in the business. I like this pressure. I enjoy being out there with the movie and being out there in a month like June, which is like the heavyweight championships of the world in movies. All the studio executives step into the ring and beat up on each other, and also all the stars, you know. So everyone is stepping into the ring and is beating up on each other, and whoever is coming out alive on the end, you know, is the winner. That's the way it goes.
Well, I hope that we'll have a chance to talk then for Kindergarten Cop, because we talk nearly every time, don't we? And it's fun.
Remember one thing, I totally rely on you to sell my movies, because without you, the people out there wouldn't know that I have a movie out there. So I really appreciate that you come always to every movie and that we have a little chance to schmooze here.
Okay. Arnold, it's wonderful to see you. Good luck with the film.
Thank you.
Lathan is now in front of Arnold.
So that was unique.
Margaret in front of Rachel.
Publicists in Hollywood, I think at this point, have the power of somebody selling water in the desert. They're selling something people really need, which is stars.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Where do we go? Because I have to know exactly what kind of a table we have. A good table. Okay, that looks like a good table. Hi, good morning, everybody. How's it going? That's right. Yeah, my name is Danny DeVito.
That's why we like it.
Yeah, some water that will be good. This is for radio, or what is that?
It's a combination of both. Some of it's here for radio and some for radio.
So you edit it down then, or what are you going to do?
In my case, it's a syndicated show with Tim Clark.
Right. Because usually those, it's always better to do those separately, you know, because then you condense it much more.
Yeah.
Those things, you know, otherwise you bubble on forever.
Well,
And the listener will say, what the hell is wrong with him?
We'll get the right.
He must have had a few Löwenbräu too much. Yeah. What is this?
People don't like dabbling.
It's a microphone.
Yeah, I know that, but then what do I need a microphone?
I don't know. I need to tape you. Isn't that silly?
All right. I mean, listen, I mean, you all have one thing in common. You're all journalists, right? Good.
A press junket is basically something where a bunch of editors agree to allow their reporters to be paid for and wined and dined by a party, a movie studio, about whom they are supposed to be writing objectively.
I like to hype myself, but that would have been a little bit too much. You know, I'm so enthusiastic about my performance. I'm very happy about the part itself, simply because it was...
Magazine editors know very well that stars sell magazines when placed on their covers. So there becomes this kind of dreary cross-pollination between the two forms, in which ultimately the press, which is supposed to have some critical function, some adversarial function, really has become another arm of the publicity machine for Hollywood.
Oh, God.
Thank you, Arnold.
Thank you. And who is next here?
Thank you, Arnold.
Because if it is a woman, I want to clip on this in her chest.
I've been blacklisted at studios for writing things that displeased the studio. Nobody said that they were inaccurate or unfair. They just didn't like it.
Ma'am, no.
So what happens is there's a lot of timidity among the press in Hollywood. And there's also a lot of naivete. You know, they sort of sit down with Robin Williams or Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're so thrilled that they don't really know the business angle. They don't really get the background. They don't ask a difficult question. They don't want to make anybody mad.
If you were an evil guy in your former life, then why did Melina already love you? You talk about this innocence and this vulnerability. You are innocent and vulnerable in Twins, but I mean, this is a very rock'em sock'em movie.
Arnold, you were seen posing at Cannes with Sylvester Stallone. Does that mean the feud that erupted after your Playboy interview was over?
You're a new father, and I'd like to congratulate you. And I'm wondering how comfortable you are with that new role, who diapers and who rocks the baby.
Arnold is there to remind us all that Hollywood is a community whose gaze is fixated, as it has ever been, on the bottom line. Arnold is a moneymaker. They may have to pay him $10 million a picture, but they get it back, and that's what counts. That's what counts.
Total Recall is doing excellent. We're now over $110 million as we speak, and we think we'll end up over $120 million. And if film rental, that is what comes back to the distributor, which in this case is TriStar, that'll be between $70 and $75 million. That's very, very good performance, better than Twins. And this movie, you have to look to Arnold as the principal source of its monster success.
I think it galled Arnold very, very much that he couldn't stop this book, that here is he, 6'2", a multimillionaire, a Kennedy family intimate, a member of George Bush's administration, who didn't want a book to be published, yet here it is, the book was out. I do have a chapter about Arnold's capacity to try and persuade the media to portray him in a very flattering light. I mean, at the Cannes Film Festival, journalists from all over the world were asked to sign an agreement that they wouldn't ask Arnold about the book. Newsday ran a minor item on Arnold's father having been a member of the Nazi Party. Now, this is extremely, extremely well documented. First of all, I have Gustav's Nazi Party membership. Secondly, the World Jewish Congress has it on record. Thirdly, they have authenticated the membership papers. Now, while Gustav's membership of the Nazi Party is absolutely no reflection on Arnold, his publicist has continually and consistently denied that Gustav Schwarzenegger was a member of the party. And in the case of Newsday, they wanted to run this, and they were told, this is not true. If you print this, you'll have a great deal of trouble. Also, Arnold's use of steroids, which of course, although he doesn't use steroids now, I think is pretty relevant given that he is currently the chairman of the President's Council on Sport and Fitness.
There are certain stars that you serve by getting them in the press, and there are other stars you serve by keeping them out of the press.
20-some years ago, I hired Paul Block to keep me out of the newspapers. I mean, I paid him to keep me out of the newspapers. No, I don't spend any time on that at all. The truth of the matter is, you know, you hit a lot of stories, and I wish I did half of the things that I heard. You know, I would have had a hell of a time. But you know, you really don't have much control of that.
You know that for the last 5 years when you haven't worked, there have been a lot of rumors about why you didn't work. And one of them was that you were having a problem with drugs. Could you help me clear that up?
Yeah, sure. It's ridiculous. So I say, you know, they picture me as Howard Hughes, you know, like, I never go anywhere, you know. It's a strange phenomenon. I don't know why, but it's happened many times. When people make up stories, they always make up bad ones. I always wonder why they make up bad. Why can't I hear one good one? I mean, it's a lie to start with.
Why do you think they would say that about you as opposed to somebody else who took off 5 years?
Well, because I was on top of the hill for a while, you know.
Jimmy dealt with stardom in a very anticipatable way. It's a very heavy cocktail. There was a time, I guess, when Jimmy became, in the eyes of the industry, irresponsible, reckless. And it's punishable by death in this industry.
It's a silly business, after all. I mean, you know, it's for a grown man, you know, to put on makeup and walk around and say things. Get paid for it, you know, it's rather silly. There was a time when my contracts had in them that I could not, for example, rodeo during the period of the shoot. And about 3 weeks left into the picture, my lawyer called me and said, Jimmy, next week I'm going to ask you that you're going to have to walk off. I said, what are you talking about? I can't walk off a picture. This is her boy. You know, well, Jimmy, you can't finish the picture. They're going to screw you. You haven't got the, you know. So, of course, they had in the contract that I couldn't rodeo. Now, I had planned on sneaking off anyway. I mean, it wasn't because of it. And as it happened, I snuck off that weekend to a rodeo, and I roped this steer, and I got out over the saddle, and of course I wouldn't let go because I was going to win $86. You know, I just had, you know, it just ran through my hand, and it just burnt. Took this hide, it went right down to the bone, you know. So I won third, got my $86, like I said. So I came back on the set Monday, and Ray Stockwell goes, what have you done? You've been rodeoing again, have you? And I go, he says, haven't you read your contract? I said, what contract? I don't have a contract. Well, it was signed that afternoon. See? So without all the lawyers, I told him there was another one coming up next week, you know. As far as choosing roles, you know, when you're gone for a while, as I was, they try to see how far down they can knock you and see, let's see, will Jimmy, you know, do this? Will he do this, you know? And I told them that they could go to the bathroom on my head, but I didn't have to lick my lips, you know?
He doesn't like what he considers to be the hucksterism of Hollywood. Even to this day, he doesn't like it, although he's now learning that that it's part of his responsibility, and that Hollywood and the studios expect him to sell his film. He felt he was an actor, and that was enough.
When someone leaves the business they're in and goes about their life in a private way and disappears, there's no question that you have to do a re-education process with the buyers. You have to get someone like Jimmy back into their consciousness. So it's when they don't just think about Dustin Hoffman, you know, they'll think about, yeah, Dustin could do that, Jimmy could do it. But he's been away from that consciousness for 5, 6 years. You don't think that way. So part of my job is to that re-educational process of, you know, think of Jimmy Cahn's talent.
It makes light of what I do to take bodybuilders and guys who spit on themselves when they speak and pay them millions of dollars. But then again, the pictures they're doing are not Othello, are they? Die harder, die easy, die whatever. The great actors now, unfortunately, are not in demand because the stories want to be the stars as opposed to the actors. So if you get an actor who's totally unpredictable and is going to take over your piece as a director, you say, hey, wait a minute, I want to be the star of this movie. And so consequently, you get very competent actors, some very competent actors, but certainly not movie stars, the kind that rivet your behind to the seat.
You don't know what's going to happen with Jimmy. You feel he may turn violent, he may turn charming and funny, but you don't know. I think that those are qualities he shares with Brando and other actors of immense power and talent. He keeps you on the edge of your seat in anticipation of what might happen.
Paul, you're dripping with perspiration. Your color is very hectic. What have you been doing?
You know damn well what I've been doing. I've been sitting here suffering. I need my pills.
Poor dear. Let's get you back in bed and I'll get them for you.
I want my pills now.
It'll only take a second.
No! I want my pain to go away, Annie. Please, make it go away. Please, Annie. Please.
See, Jimmy can play many roles. It's the guys like Arnold who play essentially one role, who become easily identifiable. It's a kind of part and parcel of that simplification idea, so that the audience is comfortable, they know what to expect.
I get up and I moan and groan and say, oh, piss on this. I don't want to be up, you know, 6 o'clock, I come to work, and then it's like Auschwitz. I mean, they tell you what to do, you know. Hey, go over there, people tug you, pull you, get over there, do this, do that. Hurry up, you know, and sit around and wait.
June is all taken out. Anything from the 27th of May on is all free for this movie. From then on, I'm full on board. But I'm just saying in between that, okay, so we can jump around and do all the things and take care of. There is 4 days where I go to Cannes to do the overseas hype on the movie and the selling of this movie, and also the same time selling Terminator 2. So I will not be able to do anything for this movie. But in between, there's always a day or two.
The idea is that everything that you do should beget something else, that there should be, you know, a next step and a next level, and that you're working towards something.
I've set aside several days in May for this movie.
Oh, for
which
this
is,
movie or
yeah,
another movie?
No, for this movie, which is for rehearsal, for wardrobe, for photo shoots.
We can't let him run around. He knows too much. There! The bug's in your skull.
What we've been able to do with Arnold, first through Twins and now hopefully through Kindergarten Cop, is broaden his appeal. I think that Arnold is perceptive enough to understand that he can both stretch himself as an actor and broaden his base of public perception by trying to do more than one thing.
There's two ways to look at Arnold Schwarzenegger's involvement. One is the commercial and the business side, and the other one is as an actor. I'll start with the obvious first, which is the commercial side. For the producer or the director, it makes it easier because knowing that you have a movie star of his caliber, the studio is easier to work with. They give you the money and they leave you alone more. You know, with Kindergarten Cop, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a tough Los Angeles cop. He's forced to go into a small town as a substitute kindergarten teacher. The idea of having the Terminator or the Predator coming into a school having to deal with 5- and 6-year-olds is one that is immediately humorous, seductive, and delicious in many ways.
When I read it, it calls out for the biggest, toughest cop imaginable in a forced to teach kindergarten to a bunch of rowdy 6-year-olds The apotheosis of that is Arnold Schwarzenegger. To me, he just leaped out as the best choice for the role if we could get him.
I mean, I would wear a black jacket with a black shirt with this jacket. I would wear a black shirt with this jacket. But I mean, visually speaking, it doesn't work. Yeah. It really doesn't work. No. So how about the yellow one?
A dark red, any kind of things rather than just black.
Red looks good with green.
Crimson would look nice, you know.
Cream colors. Purple, you know, purple. Purple would look good. They called Universal Studio, called Tom Pollock and Ron Howard, who owned the script, and told them that I would beg Aaron to direct the film.
Now put it back.
Sell it, Arnold, sell it.
Sell it, sell it.
I was absolutely convinced that he is the kind of a director that can bring out of me certain qualities that other directors cannot bring out. He mentions a few things that he feels are very valuable to make this character a very sellable item in a film and to make the film be successful not only in America but all over the world. That's it, thank you.
Maybe this is easy. Every scene will have its own set of problems. He doesn't have the formal training that many other actors do, so I will have to use different techniques, sometimes tricks, to get the desired effect. And I think he can do it. That remains to be seen. It's very hard to describe the technique. You just go in there and do it, and sometimes it's a key word or a situation or giving him a piece of business that takes his mind off something.
38.
357, that's model 19. Here's a Colt 45.
The regular 45, yeah.
Beyond that, we worked for his physique. I mean, the first time he walks into the kindergarten class, we play it in a very special way, which deals with his size that you wouldn't do if there was another actor playing the part. Okay, quiet. Natural, remember? Just acting natural like we did before. Okay, here's the principal.
This is Mr. Kimball, your new kindergarten teacher.
Okay, you're looking at his toes. 1, 2, 3.
Is he a giant?
Well, teachers come in all shapes and sizes. Now let's say good morning to Mr. Kimball.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine.
Good. I'm very happy to be here. Yes?
I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, go ahead.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Quiet. Thank you very much. That's terrific. I will remember that. Okay? Okay, I will thank you very much for this information. I will remember that. Yes.
There's a definite limit on what he can do as an actor comfortably, and we've been trying to push the envelope of that a bit, starting with Twins and now even more with Kindergarten Cop.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kimball.
Sit down. So nice to see you all again.
It combines action, it combines humor, it combines children, and it's warm, and it's a feel-good movie.
Did you like meeting Arnold the other day?
Seems
Yeah.
like a fun guy to work with.
Yeah. Did you see his film? Is there any of his other movies?
Twins, part of Twins.
Twins, you guys saw Twins because you are twins, right?
Right.
With the making of Twins, they didn't know whether he would be accepted as a comedian, which he was. And I think that's given them the confidence to say, right, we can push this even further. We can make him into a leading man, which I don't think he's ever been in the sense of being a romantic lead.
Miss O'Hara is here to talk to you about something very important. So now pay attention, okay?
You forgot. Arnold, you got to get him to sit down after,
Oh, yeah, that's right, okay.
Let's do the whole entrance one more time. Come on.
You know what?
Everyone. You seem nervous today. You guys nervous or something?
No.
Did you ever do a song together? Do you know how to sing?
Yeah, we know how to sing.
Yeah? What song? Okay, let's try it. Okay, we're waiting. So what song are you going to do?
It's called Stegosaurus.
Okay, let's go.
My name is Stegosaurus. I'm a funny-looking dinosaur.
I've been working with Arnold for, this will be my 9th feature with him in almost 7 years. And I work doing photo double him in chase scenes and stand in for him, help set the lighting, et cetera, whatever needs to be done. I mean, obviously, to double him, you have to have a certain degree of his size. I wouldn't flatter myself in saying that I have all of the things that make up Arnold's physique, but I have enough of them that I can get by with it. And, you know, the face structure, they say, is sort of similar. Mine's a little more beaten up than his, but that's what they say.
Hey, guys, Arnold's here.
There you go. Now you can have the real one instead of the, as they call me, ersatz.
Schwarzenegger is Hollywood's dream of what a person should be. A man who actually wants to be a star and will do exactly what the studios want, his agents want, and his publicists want. James Caan, in contrast, is a sort of traditional kind of Hollywood maverick. But the problem is that the studio system is no longer as structured as it was in the past. So that whereas a guy like Robert Mitchum could get away with making lots of trouble, there's no safety net for someone like James Caan. If he makes trouble, he's simply in trouble.
I'm just a total victim in this whole picture, so I'm trying to stay happy through this whole thing, you know, trying. So by the time I go home, I want to strangle about 80 people between here and my house, you know. So, you know, the minute they go rap for the day, I'm gone. I'm thinking about what basketball game I can watch or what girl I can see for a little while.
This man is going to go on and on. He's reinvented himself 5 or 6 times already on a grand scale, and I'd see no end in sight. You've got to remember it. This is a country that put Ronald Reagan in the White House. I mean, there's sky's the limit for someone like Arnold.
As there is a McDonald's for hamburgers, Arnold should be referred to as McStar. What he has done is exactly what McDonald's did, and it is the idea behind all good merchandising. Give the public what they want, make it predictable enough so that they'll know what they're getting, and they'll come back for more because they know what it is, and then toss in something a little different. I mean, McDonald's added salads and Arnold added twins. Toss in, you know, Arnold now wants people to see another side of me.
I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. That's the song I hear, the loudest the sing today.
I have been fortunate that every year the public's interest in me and in my films have gone up. That includes covers and magazines. If it is posters that are being sold, if it is movies that are being sold, whatever it is, they sell better this year than last year, and last year they sold better than the year before, and since it has increased all the time, and we hope it will continue like that.
I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey.
Next Saturday in Naked Hollywood, we observe some of the hottest Hollywood agents in action. $4 million is cheap in Naked Hollywood next Saturday night at 9:30. Stay with us now for Order in the House.
to hold it in my arms and keep